Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Anybody tired?
No.
Bit, maybe a bit, huh?
No.
Have you had a good day, good evening?
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
One of you told me you had a story about Abu Hurairah. Is that right?
Yeah.
Earlier on, do you remember? Do you remember what that story was?
Yeah.
Huh? You knew the story already. Okay. All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Okay, before I came, I had a lot of different ideas what to talk to you about. What can we talk about, right? What can we discuss? There are lots of things. Because when we're talking about who today, who are we really here for? What are we here to learn about?
The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is that right? Yes. And so if you talk about him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we can talk about many things, isn't it? You know, we can go on all night, all our lives, and we wouldn't really run out of things to say. And it's true. And so I thought, you know what? A lot of you are how old? 6, 9, 8, 10, 11, right?
7.
You're all these ages. And so wouldn't it be good if we learned about those who are the same age as you and they were around the Prophet? They grew up in his house. They grew up with him. Right? So it'd be good to learn from their perspective, from their life, of what they want us to know about the Prophet ﷺ. What did they see? And so I'm going to start with a question. Who knows who this is? If you think you know who it is, put your hand up. Just put your hand up. Don't shout out. Put your hand up. If you think you know who that is, that guy and that bald guy right there, if you know who that is, just put your hand up. I don't want you to speak a word. Just hands up. Okay. So, the majority of us are not sure. Maybe we don't know who that is. So, can you tell me who it is? Alfred. What? Joe Biden. All right. Okay. Who is it? Joe Biden. That's very smart answer, isn't it? Okay. Yeah. Me? All right. Or
Number 2 is a guy, a clown in pajamas
okay. I don't want anybody to speak. If you speak, I'm gonna do something, and you won't like it. You won't like it. Okay. Yeah. Alfred from Batman. Is that who you were talking about? Everybody know Batman?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good because if you needed a clue, that was the clue. If you needed it. Who's that next to you, Batman?
Robin.
Okay. Can you tell me what's in common between Robin and Alfred? What might be in common between both of them? Yeah. They're orphans. Okay. They're both humans. Heroes. Oh. Alfred a hero. Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
People that Batman uses before.
People that Batman uses stuff for. Is that what you said? Interesting. Yeah?
People are under Batman's command.
People under Batman's commands. Okay. Anything else? Anything different? Yes? They're both good friends. So Robin's a good friend of Batman and Alfred's a good friend of Batman, yeah? Okay. What else? They both have black things on their eyes. Black masks. Okay, what about Alfred though? Okay. Alright, so is that right? Is Batman the superhero? Okay, and is Robin the sidekick?
Yeah.
And is Alfred the servant? You said no. He's the butler. He's the butler. What else is he then?
He's just one of his companions.
Companions. Ooh. We went from servant to butler to companion. Anybody else got something to say? Something to add? Yeah.
Robin is like sidekick. Robin he just goes with Batman after the scene.
Okay. Yes. What's a sidekick? Can somebody tell me what a sidekick is? Yeah. So you're saying. So basically, what you're saying is, so you've got the superhero and you've got the guy that's just joining him on the adventures and just helping him out. Yeah. Well.
He's the guy that kicks Batman's side.
Okay, if I asked you now, which one would you want to be? Okay, just think about it. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. I'm not saying if you want to be Batman, or you want to be Robin, or you want to be Alfred. I'm asking you in terms of these names, these titles. You want to be the superhero? You want to be the servant? Right? Or do you want to be the sidekick? Just think about it. Think about it. Don't say anything. Think about it. Think about it. What would you want to be? If you were given a choice, what would you want to be out of these three? Okay, just think about it. Okay. Put your hand up if you want to be a superhero. Ooh. Alright. I'd say that's probably the majority of us. You want to be a superhero? Okay, put your hand down. Who wants to be the sidekick of a superhero? Okay, the one who's trying to be the superhero as well. Okay, who wants to be the servant? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So who do you think won? Who do you think won?
The superhero.
The superhero. Okay. Interesting. Alright. Are you listening? You listening?
Yeah.
Alright. You better be. Alright. Now, just remember that. Remember your answers. Remember your answers. Whatever you thought. You wanted to be the superhero. Remember that. You wanted to be the sidekick. Remember that. Or you wanted to be the servant. Remember that. Okay, now I'm going to talk about, or we're going to try and meet somebody who was a helper, a servant of a real superhero. Is Batman real?
No.
Is Robin real?
No.
Is Alfred real?
No.
Yeah. Okay. But what we need to do is we need to go back to Medina. Alright? Go back to Medina. Because the superhero lives here. And that helper that I'm talking about, he also lives there. Anybody know who it might be? Yes? Who? Allah. Okay. He's the real superhero, right? Okay. Yeah?
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yeah? Who did you say? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yeah? Yes? A Sahaba. Okay, Sahabi, yeah. The angels. Oh, we got so many heroes now. Yes? Okay, the Prophet Sallallahu and Abu Bakr. Radiallahu anhu, eh? Okay. Adam. Okay. That's enough. That's enough. That's good answers. Okay. So, does anybody know a nasheed? It's called Tala al-Badru alayna. Anybody know it? Does anybody want to come up here and join me to sing it? You want to come up here? Come on. Alright, let's go. طلع البدر علينا من ثنيات الوداع وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داع أيها المبعوث فينا جئت بالأمر المطاع جئت شرفت المدينة مرحبا يا خير داع ما شاء الله give him a takbir Allah Akbar give him a risala okay what's that got to do with this slide? You see what it says? It says Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is coming. And some kid's really excited. He's coming. Right? He's saying, look! Everyone is excited. What's going on? What's he talking about? Any one of you?
When Islam used to come out onto the street, the children would recite Qur'an.
Okay, yeah. Anything else?
When Prophet Muhammad ﷺ first came to Medina, everyone was very excited and they recited
Okay, very nice.
The little kids recited the nasheed to praise the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
So what was the scene? What was going on? Okay, so this was the time when the Prophet ﷺ was going from Mecca to Medina. Do you know what it was called back then? What it was initially called? Anybody know? It wasn't called Medina then, was it? It was called something else. Do you know? Do you know what it's called? It's called what? Yeah, Yathrib. It's called Yathrib. And so all of a sudden, the Prophet ﷺ is here. He arrives. And people are really excited. They're really excited. They're giving gifts. They're singing Tala al-Badru alayna. They're playing the drums. They're jumping up and down. But there was one person. There was one mother. She didn't have anything to give him. She didn't have any gifts. She didn't have anything fancy, anything to give. Like, what can I do? What can I give him? Everybody's giving a gift. And her name was Sulaim. What was her name?
Sulaim.
But she had one thing. She had one really, really, really special, precious thing to give him. It was an 8-year-old boy. Some say he was 10 years old. Some say maybe 12. But he was very young. He was your age. So she goes to the Prophet ﷺ and says, I do not have anything to give you like these guys are giving you these gifts. But I have somebody called Unais, my son. My son. Would you accept him? He'll be your Alfred. Oh yeah, he'll be your Alfred. He'll be your Robin. Yeah, what are you laughing for? Think funny. Yeah, he'll be your Phil, he'll be your Robin. Nah, she didn't say that, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You help him. He'll serve you. He'll be your khadim. Do you know what khadim means? What does it mean? Servant. Your servant. He'll be your khadim. Okay, I want you to imagine right now. You got your best friend. Is he your best friend? Is he your brother? Who is he? He's your brother. Okay. Let's just imagine now. I've come here and I want a present from you because I've come here. Okay, and I say to you, have you got anything for me? You say, no, I don't got nothing for you. I don't know what to give you. I got no money. I got nothing. What can I give you? And I say, who's that? I like that red clothes he's got. I like red. I've got a bit of red on my socks. Right? Could you give him to me? And you'd be like, what? What's wrong with you, man? What kind of gift is that? What's up with you? Why do you want my little brother for? What are you going to do with him? You going to gobble him up or something? What are you gonna do? But imagine your mum saying that. You're like, oh man, what are you doing, man? You want me to go to this man? But who is this man? Who is this man? It's not some ordinary man, is it? It's the Prophet ﷺ. And you know what, this boy's excited. He's like, yes. Yo, man. Yeah. I want to stay with him. I want to live with him. Because the guy's a superhero. If I said to you Batman was real, or Spider-Man was real, okay, you probably won't believe me, isn't it? You won't believe me. But if I told you Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, Zlatan, they're real. Okay, now all of a sudden you know their names. You're throwing me the names. Zlatan, Ibrahimovic, this. What about Phil Jones? Alright. Okay. I get you. Yeah, I get you. Okay. You know these players, don't you? If I said to you, you can meet them, spend a weekend with them. But you know what? I say to you, Imam Sahib's here, but your teacher's there. I go to your teacher and go, you know what? I'm going to say to Bilal, I'm going to say to Adam, you're not allowed to go Shahjalal Mosque next month. You're not allowed to go to the youth night. You're not allowed to go, but they're going to spend a day or a weekend with a special football player. You tell me what you're going to choose. Are you going to choose a mosque or are you going to choose a football player? Just be very honest. You don't have to put your hand up. Just be honest with yourself in your heart. Right? You want to choose a footballer? Okay. You know, one day I went for Jummah. I went for Jummah and there was a Manchester City football player there reading Jummah at the back. And I went up to him. And I said, look, we've got a football academy and I want you to come to it. And it's at your Manchester City complex ground as well. We're doing it down there. But you know, the funny thing is, it's a Manchester United coach that's training them. And he's at City Stadium. He's doing it there. And he's like, no, really? Yeah. You gotta come. It's one of the Tory brothers. Okay? It's one of them. So it was one of them. You know them? You know Yaya Toure? You know Yaya Toure? Yeah, it was him. So I told him, you need to come down. Now look at you, none of you seem to have known who that is. He's one of the Muslim players. Name me a Muslim player.
Fred.
Who said Fred?
Fred?
Is he Muslim? Muhammad Salah. Okay. Alright. Okay, good. Alright, now, the name of this khadim, the name of this person was Anas. What was his name? What was his name? What was his name? Anas ibn Malik. He was also known as Unais. The Prophet ﷺ used to call him that. That means my son. So it was almost like a nickname of his, and his mother used to call him this, Unais. His mother used to call him this. Anas ibn Malik. He spent 10 years. Spent 10 years with the Prophet ﷺ. 10 years. So imagine you're 10 years old, or you're 8 years old, and all of a sudden you're like, mom's like, put you into his home in Medina, you're going to live with him, and you're going to spend 10 years with him. So that means you're going to sleep there, you're going to see how he eats, you're going to experience everything. And so really what we want to do is we want to try and see and live and experience and understand and try to feel what Anas felt. What did this little boy see? What did this little boy see? What did this little boy want to tell us? What did Anas want to tell us? One of the things he told us, for example, in the mornings, he would be the first one to wake up. Are you the first ones to wake up in the morning?
Yes.
You usually are, I think so. Right? Maybe if you want to go to school, you're like, I'm going to get up last minute. Okay? He used to be the first one up. And when the Prophet ﷺ used to fast, he used to get up and he used to prepare his meal for him. He used to do cooking for him. He used to make the suhoor. And then go pray Fajr with him at the masjid. He's a young boy. Look at what he's doing. Amazing. Okay. He also was very trusted. Very special. He used to keep the sandals of the Prophet ﷺ. There was one day, the Prophet ﷺ told him, take my sandals and hold it against your chest. And then whoever you meet, tell them, if you say La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, you will enter paradise. And the first person he meets is Sayyidina Umar. Umar ibn Khattab. Tall man. Scary man. Very, 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 very strong man. Umar. Tells him. And the first thing Umar does is sees the Prophet's sandals in his arms, in his hands, and says, what are you doing with that? What are you doing with that? And he says, what the Prophet told me, isn't it? And he told me to say this. And then he pushed him. And he fell on the floor. And then he started crying. And then he went running back to the Prophet ﷺ, and he went running back to him. And he says, Umar did this to me, he pushed me, and I told him this, and he wasn't believing me. Right? And then Umar followed him. And he was hearing it. And then he said to the Prophet ﷺ, did you say this? Is it true? He said, yes, I said this. He trusted Anas fully. There's one day, right? Anas, when he was young, now he's very young, isn't he? He's like 10, 12 years old. He starts playing with his friends. So he's playing games, right? Did you guys play FIFA today?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
8 o'clock.
Yeah, so imagine him playing FIFA. So Anas is playing FIFA, right? What happens when you're playing games? You lose track of time, don't you? Like, all of a sudden it's morning and the next thing you know, oh, it's Maghrib. What's going on? You're just playing games, and you lose track of time. Isn't it? It happens when you're on the phone as well. You're on YouTube. I was supposed to go on to watch, I don't know, Batman, and I end up watching Spider-Man, and then I'm watching Teletubbies, and then I don't know what I'm watching. I get lost. I don't know what's going on. I lost time. So what Anas does is, the Prophet ﷺ tells him, you have to go and do this thing for me. Top secret. You're my agent. My secret agent. Alright, you go do this for me, right? So he goes. But then he sees his friends, they're playing, and then he starts playing with them. And he loses time, he loses track. He loses track of time. Yeah. Yep, very good. That's it. Time moves. Time moves. And then what happens is, the Prophet ﷺ goes and sees him. What do you think the Prophet's going to do now? He's told somebody to go on a top secret mission to do this for me. You got to do this for me. And then you go and do something else. What do you think now teacher's going to say to you? Are you going to get like a little... No? You're not going to get that? Okay, are you going to get shouted at? I told you to do this! Why are you not doing it? Is that what's going to happen? Do you think that was going to... Put your hand up if you think that will happen. Is that what your dad would say to you? Did your dad shout at you and say, "Oi, I told you to do this, why are you not doing it?" Is that right? Okay. But guess what the Prophet ﷺ goes? He goes up to him on his shoulder, taps him on his shoulder. He says, "Anas, Mace, remember what I told you?" And he smiled. Big smile. And he wrote back. And he went and did it. And there's a different narration where Anas, he said, the Prophet told me to do something, and he said it's a secret. So I went to do it. And then I came home late. You know what happens if you come home late? Yeah, man. Mom and dad are going to be like, "Where you been? What you been doing? Naughty girl, naughty boy, what you doing?" Right? So he comes back home, and his mum says, Where have you been? Where have you been? And he says, Prophet ﷺ, he told me to go and do something for him. And then she said, "What did he go and tell you to do that you so late?" He says, "Nah, top secret. I'm not telling nothing. I'm not telling nothing." And then his mum says, "Well, if the Prophet told you that, then yeah, don't tell me. You need to keep it secret." And one of the first things that Anas was told by the Prophet ﷺ was, keep your secrets, keep your promises. Keep them. Don't break it. One of the first things he was told. Okay? And now Anas, he's growing up with the Prophet. Imagine everything that he got. He learned his secrets. He learned everything he was saying. He looked at his example. He even got his special prayers. He got his special prayers. He got his so much. He got so many prayers. He was the oldest living Sahaba. His oldest living. He lived until he was 103 years old. And he had the most kids. That biggest family, he had the biggest flock. He had like over 80 odd kids. Right? Big kids. Okay? Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ made dua for him. He made dua for him. What happens when you're a khadim? What happens when you're Alfie? What happens when you're Robin? Batman's going to say, "I couldn't have done this without you, man. I was so so good." You know, there's some really bad traits about Batman. What are they? He's an enemy. He makes enemies. Okay. Is that okay? Interesting.
Yes, angry quite.
He gets angry. He gets really angry, isn't it, Batman? What else?
He always looks like he's in a dark mood.
He always talks like he's in a dark
Because he's a
room.
pop.
He get me in a dark room now. He fights. Did you see what he fights? He what? He wears pajamas. He's in his PG. Yeah? Alright, fights. Okay, now remember those of you who said superhero, that you wanted to be the superhero. Does a superhero sound like he does all those things?
No, definitely.
Okay, does Alfred do any of those things?
Yeah. No.
Does Alfred fight?
No.
Ooh. Okay, does he help the guys to fight them? Does he help Batman to fight?
No. Yes, he does.
But who's Batman fighting against? Superman, okay. Who else is it? Who's Batman fighting? Not Joe Biden, come on, man. Not Snowman, man. Come on, what are you talking about? Bodies, isn't it? Their bodies aren't there. Their bodies aren't there. Okay, alright. What about Robin? He's doing the same thing, isn't he? Okay. Now, another thing, now remember this. Remember what I'm talking about. Remember what I'm talking about. What have we said so far? What have we said so far? Somebody tell me some one thing what we've said so far. That you've learned so far. Huh?
Unais stayed with the Prophet Muhammad for 10 years.
10 years. What was his name?
Unais.
What else?
Anas.
Anas. Yeah? Anas ibn Malik. Yeah, good. Okay. He memorized so many things. Over 2,000 odd hadith. Things that the Prophet said. And he took care of his needs. He took care of his needs. Okay? Now, let's just look at some of the things he shared with us. Just a couple of things. Alright? This is really important. So he says, Anas says, that I lived with the Messenger of Allah for 10 years. I served him for 10 years. Okay? And never once, not even once, did he say, ugh. Or did he say, oof? Or go, what? Or did he go, ugh? You know, somebody gets really annoyed. He didn't do that not once. Not once. 10 years. Not once. And never did he ever say to me in 10 years, guys at the back, Gucci bro. Gucci man. You good? You listening? Alright, you need, I want some Gucci afterwards, yeah? Alright, so what happens is, he says, number one, what did he say? What's the first thing he said? It's right there. It's right there. And then what? Never once did he say? Oh. You know, like now I just picked on you. Could have said, oh God. What are you picking on me for, man? You're embarrassing me and stuff. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. Not once. And he says that he never, ever said, why did you do that? Why did you do that? Have you heard that before? Have you heard somebody say to you, why did you do that?
Yes.
And you know, usually that means you're in trouble, isn't it?
No.
Usually means what, you're in trouble now. Because they're coming to you, if you did something, like, why did you do that? Why did you say Fred for? He's not a Muslim. Fred's not a Muslim. Why are you saying that for? Okay, so that's what happened. He said he never said that either. Okay, what's the third thing? Why didn't you do that?
No.
So number one, what? What's the number one thing he never said? Oh, like he didn't complain. He didn't show any annoyance. He didn't get annoyed. Okay, and he didn't say, why did you do this? And he didn't say, why didn't you do this? Okay? And so what he said was the Prophet ﷺ was the best in character. The best in character. The best in character. He was the best person. He was the best. The best in character. And he said that his hands were so soft. So soft. His hands are so soft. There's the softest that he ever felt. Softer than silk. Softer than a brocade of silk. Soft. And nothing smelled as good as him. Better than musk, he said. And none of you have really smelled real musk. You've not smelled it. This is what he says. So you can imagine, you're living in him for 10 years, and what are you? What was he again? He was a servant. He was a servant. What do you imagine now? You know your boss may be at work, or your teacher at school. He's going to shout at you. He's going to shout at you. He's going to say something to you. And if you've got a servant, people think, okay, this person is the low one. You know, I asked you, who do you want to be? Do you want to be Alfred? Do you want to be Robin or the superhero? Yeah, that's easy. I want to be the superhero. But some of you said servant. You know, a lot of us, we look down on the servants. The servants are, they're bad, they're not good. Right? They do that. And also, you will see this as well. Unfortunately, you will see this. You will see this even in Muslim lands, the servants are not treated very well. Okay, what's the second thing? I already told you this, about the secrets. Okay, I told you this one about the secrets. He kept the secrets. Meaning the Prophet ﷺ even would trust a child. He made such a relationship, they were such friends, that even he would trust him. I think many of your friends or your adults, yeah, they would never ever give you something and say to you, keep the secret. Okay? Next thing, 10 years, he said, 10 years, I was with him 10 years. And he never beat me. He never beat me. He never had a fight. You know, Bangladesh and Pakistan are playing cricket right now. Okay? Like, don't start making that into fights between yourselves. Oh, like Pakistan's better, or Bangladesh is better, like this and that. Don't get into that. Don't start fighting each other. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to do that? Anas is saying, 10 years. The Prophet ﷺ never had a fight. He never beat me. He never hurt me. He never shouted at me. And he never got angry. He didn't look angry. What was he doing then?
He was stunned.
What was he doing? Smiling. And then what's the next thing? If he's like that, if he doesn't hurt you, he is going, he's making it easy. He's making things easy. And Anas says, the Prophet ﷺ told him, he told him, make things easy. Make things easy for people. Don't make it hard for them. Don't make it hard for them. Give them good things. Give them good news. Don't make them run away. And the last thing. Last thing. Friends. Okay, now what's the card to do with this? I'll tell you what the card to do with this. Do you know what game that is? Look how you did it straight away. It's Forza. You got it right. Bang on. It's Forza. It's Forza. You know straight away. I asked my little brother, he works with Warner Brothers. He developed the Arkham Knight game with Warner Brothers. So I asked him just before coming, what games are kids playing nowadays? So he said it's Forza. So I got a picture of it and I put it on. Okay? It's one of the games that you got to play. Okay, now, Anas says, he had a little brother. His little brother, his nickname was Abu Umayr. Abu Umayr. And he had a pet sparrow. He had a pet sparrow.
What's this pet spider?
A bird. He had a bird. Pet bird. Yeah? So imagine a lot of people have, what they call parrots. Right? Like a pet parrot. So he had one of them. And one day, sadly, it died. his pet sparrow died, right? And so he was very sad. And the Prophet ﷺ saw him, and he said, and then he said to Anas, what's the matter with the roommate? What's the matter? What's going on? So he says, his sparrows died. So then the Prophet ﷺ went to Abu Umayr and said, oh, Abu Umayr, what happened to Nughayr? Does Umayr and Nughayr sound similar?
Yeah.
So he played on words to make him happy, but also to make him realize that he's interested in the bird. He's interested in what he's got. So this is how the Prophet ﷺ was. So I've just got one question for you and that's it. We're finished. What do you think Anas would want you to do? What does he want you to do? What does he want you to remember? So what's one thing? Never fight, okay. To keep your trust. Yeah?
To always never lie to someone.
Don't lie to someone. Respect your elders.
Never let down the others.
Don't let them down. Care for people. Don't get angry. Make things easy for people. And then last one. Dun, 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 dun. Peace. Be peaceful. Okay, peace. Alhamdulillah. I hope you learned something, inshallah. And we make dua that you and myself, we can all benefit. We can remember people like us. Okay? Inshallah, Allah give us khair, Allah give us tawfiq. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Let us stay seated, please.